Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. It's Friday, November 3rd. We're going to check in on the cryptocurrency space. We've got a lot of capital moving around in global markets over the last week, and especially in response to the FOMC on Wednesday. And now that things are shaking out the way that they are with the broader market in a short squeeze right now, it's easier to look back in hindsight and say crypto was giving a heads up. Again, just constantly saying this is extremely unusual for crypto to be this strong when stocks are this weak. And crypto had a couple weeks of bullish action, and now it's just this is a short squeeze off the lows where we are V-shaping back to resistance. And some things like you look at the financial sector and this 5-day move for the entire financial sector to go up 8% in 5 days, you're going to be hard pressed. I mean, it's the kind of action that happens after capitulation, like the CVID bottom. We had gains that were comparable off the lows. But you see the gap and go. ARKK, this is the growth stocks. So again, one thing that I was saying was, the highest risk, highest reward sector is showing risk on right now. And we're getting these 100% moves. And stocks, the highest risk, highest reward stocks are getting nothing. And then this is the response a bit delayed. So confidence returning to markets. And this is disbelief right now in this short squeeze rally that's going on in the broader stock market. And I am not fighting this move because for me, the longer term most likely scenario is monthly higher lows on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And they are very quickly in 1 week shaping those up. And the NASDAQ is a possible monthly bull flag. So it's a good thing for crypto that confidence is returning everywhere. It's just very interesting that crypto led that return to confidence. Again, very unusual. It's one thing for Bitcoin to lead it, which it was, but then to have, sushi going 100% and Sol going up so much while stocks are still at the lows, just a disjointed timeline between them. But bulls like it. So the Bitcoin, we were watching this hourly falling wedge this morning. It broke bull, and now we must confirm an hourly uptrend if we're going to hold 34,000 support. And the bulls have been battling to hold 34,000 for a while now, and this is the must-hold short-term level. You can see how many times we have touched it, and if we're going to keep longer-term control, that has to hold. If we break 34,000 over the weekend, weekly consolidation is very likely shaping up. Right now, this is a gravestone doji, and that is potentially shaping up that consolidation. And so we have another hold of support, hourly, got right down close to oversold conditions, didn't quite get there. And so the biggest information that I'm looking at from here is, will we see an hourly uptrend confirm or not? If not, weekly consolidation very likely. If we do, it's still a possible 12-hour head and shoulders. Anything under the high of 36 would be a 12-hour lower high. But it's 34. That's all we care about right now. And the bulls are doing their best to hold that. The dollar is significantly weakening. We double topped trying to confirm a weekly bull flag and rolled over into fresh month-plus lows. And we know crypto bulls would love for the dollar to be setting a long-term 3-month lower high. And this is the weakest that the dollar has been since this entire bounce started back in July, which is when the broader market topped out. Stocks topped out here, and now we get this candle, and stocks getting their biggest week in a very long time. So I would say right now the broader stock market is more inverse to the dollar than Bitcoin is. But again, if we're talking sentiment, stocks and crypto are on the same team. And it's almost like the question will be, if confidence returns to the stock market, does money leave crypto? Or if confidence returns to the stock market, do people have more confidence to throw money at crypto? And gold is still creeping up just under all-time highs. We're watching that very closely. And I know, again, correlations come and go. And some people don't want to look at correlations. They just want to look at Bitcoin. And that's perfectly fine. I understand that. But I just have to keep highlighting how, gold's bull move started October 9th and saw follow through the 13th. Bitcoin was lagging behind it. It started its bull move a couple days after that. Gold then topped out and formed a daily bull flag, which confirmed on the 27th. Bitcoin topped out, confirmed its daily bull flag on the 1st, 4 days later. Gold confirmed the daily bull flag straight into 3 days of consolidation. And here is Bitcoin confirming the daily bull flag straight into a couple days of consolidation. And so the best case for the Bitcoin bulls would be hold daily EMA 12, just like gold did, and try and head back to the recent highs. And so I absolutely feel that they are related because of how similar these moves have been. Just, again, just the timing slightly offline. But again, watching the metals very closely, and they're strong, and Bitcoin has been strong the last few weeks. So gonna keep an eye on it. Of course, as soon as I mention correlations, often they stop happening, but that's the beauty of them. They're always coming and going. And for those of us that are actively trading, it's important to stay on top of them, and we can get clues from them. I had, my probability. What's the probability that Bitcoin confirms this daily bull flag? I would say that because I saw gold do it, my probability was significantly higher that Bitcoin would do it as well. So even if it's not, directly taking a trade based off a certain thing that gold is doing, it can impact our probabilities in terms of determining most likely scenarios. Dominance chart for Bitcoin on this pullback is pulling back as well. So that's showing us that Bitcoin is leading the way down to a certain degree. There's definitely altcoins that are holding on better, altcoins that are dropping harder. So not getting a lot of information from the dominance chart here. ETH broke resistance straight into consolidation, but it's trying to hold daily EMA 12. Looks like a little relative strength today in ETH. ETH BTC, get over daily EMA 12. If you're going to prove to us that something is different, get over daily EMA 12 and we'll zoom out and look for the weekly bounce. And then there'll have to be a lot of proving to be done on the weekly time frame as well, but that's step one. And I'm watching for some rotation, especially with Sol topping out. So Sol's top is in for a while. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sol's top is in for days at least. Daily consolidation underway, hourly heading towards, we'll be watching for first hourly oversold conditions, scouting a daily higher low. But we just have to keep in mind as well, every period of consolidation that we've seen from here, it hasn't required a huge move to get back to the highs. But at this point, if we're going to see a higher high from here, it would mean the bulls show up and go plus 23%. It's possible, but in my opinion, the more likely scenario is we consolidate to find a higher low, we bounce and find a lower high, and we tighten up a bit. And that volume climax candle on the daily is definitely a factor in that. Got questions recently about, trading a euphoria market and trading a parabolic market. And one of the major things that helps you pinpoint tops is volume climaxes. And you recognize it on one time frame and then you zoom in from there. So when this Sol 12-hour candle was forming, there was still 5 hours left in it, or 6 hours. And I was able to say, this is about to be the highest 12-hour volume in Sol in like 8 months. Almost all year. And so what do you do from there? You zoom in. All right, let's see if we can identify the volume climax on the hourly. And it's tricky. It's easier in hindsight always. Everything is. You could look at this candle and say, well, I thought that was the climax. But the key is the extremely high volume and both directions represented in the candle. Only bulls are represented in this candle. And why volume climaxes are good signals is because it shows you the highest amount of bull volume, the last push for the bulls, and a big push from the bears. And that's why there's so much of that volume. And so you want to see that represented on the candle with a big upper wick and a big lower wick, and just showing you that there's a lot of volume in both directions. This candle shows me there's a lot of bull volume. That candle shows me there was definitely bull volume to push up to the high and then bear volume to knock it back down. And you can even zoom in, even further. Sometimes you can narrow it all the way down here. Not quite. So here was a 5-minute climax into just 20 minutes of consolidation before another climax into the top. And of course, Sushi had that volume climax, which was very glaring on its 5-minute time frame. Just an insane move. I mean, that candle is standing out a mile away, and both sides are represented by that big upper wick. Big push up, big drop down. And then we just had another 5-minute volume climax today, it looks like. There's a 5-minute bear climax marking the low, and here's another climax marking the high. And again, look at the comparison here. This volume candle is twice the high volume candle previously. You take that volume climax off and you say, wow, we got some high volume coming in. And then you get a candle where, 2 minutes into the candle, you can see we're already at the highest volume of the last couple of hours. And we've got another 3 minutes to go in this candle. So we know it's going to be an extremely high volume candle. And so that was another, now we got a triple top up at 130. Nice defense from the bears. And now we're going to watch to see if 9-8 support can hold. If it does, we're just going to keep tightening up in a 4-hour equilibrium. But very clearly, the bears are establishing their line in the sand defense. So I'm keeping an eye out for an ETH BTC bounce. And honestly, one of my hobbies this week has been looking around on social media and finding, and I do this too, I'll make a post right at a top or a bottom, but people making posts right at reversal points. And one of them this week, I should compile a book, but one of them this week was on Tesla. Someone was posting their put gains, and it was literally at the low on Monday. And my response was, if you got the urge to post, it's an automatic take some profit. And they said, nope, they're going to let it ride. If we close under 200, we're going to collapse. And it's gone up 15% since then. And another one was someone saying, people think profit is going to be rotated from SOL to ETH after this move. And it was, mocking that there's no chance that that's going to happen. And I look at the chart and say, they're probably marking a bottom with that comment. And so I zoom in, and it still has a while to play out. They may be right, but so far, their post was ETH USD divided by SOL USD. Their post was made literally right here. So my new hobby is knowing when things are real extended on the chart and then finding posts that mark reversals because we know it's social. It's social psychology that helps mark these tops and bottoms. Max euphoria for bears marks bottoms. Max fear for bulls marks bottoms. Max euphoria for bulls marks tops. So some money is rotating out of SOL and into ETH. And it's just a question of, is this going to continue for a significant period of time or just a couple days and another lower high? Link, we were looking at that rising wedge on Link last live stream, and it confirmed, but not much follow through. So that was this. And so it confirmed 12-hour lower high, 12-hour lower low, but still not rolling over. And that makes bulls confident. Again, it's a downtrend confirming straight into a bounce. And so the daily chart is still just fine for the bulls if we keep holding EMA 12. So it followed through a bit, but bulls are buying that dip still. Hourly RSI is not staying oversold. We hit oversold and get a 10% bounce, and then we drop down and hit oversold, and now we're at an 8% bounce. So bulls are definitely still buying some dips out there. As far as the crypto stocks, they're playing laggard catch-up, and a lot of that has to do with IWM. So I was talking about IWM holding back these stocks. Now IWM is joining the market short squeeze. And you have Riot back to highest level in a month. Still a ton of work to do. Coin had an earnings reaction. It's trying to get back to the highest level in a couple of months. But again, for me, it's why did they finally wake up? Why is Riot now green? The last 2 days, Riot has now gone up 14%. What's Bitcoin done the last 2 days? It's red. Well, how does that make any sense? It's IWM. It's the automated trading of bots and algos that are buying growth names based on what IWM is doing and selling growth names based on what IWM is doing. So they were selling Riot and MARA, ignoring Bitcoin's strength when IWM was doing this. And now IWM's doing this. We're back to buying these names again. All right. Back to reading the chat. I think I've said what I want to say the last 15 minutes. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks for the likes and the shares. Again, at this point, we're cautious of weekly consolidation in Bitcoin. and it's 34. It's the same thing. This happens. What Bitcoin is doing on the hourly time frame right now with 34 and the amount of times we've held it, SPY has been doing that on the 5-minute time frame on this short squeeze. Look at yesterday after hours. Apple had bearish earnings reaction, and the S&P 500 bulls said, nope, we are holding this level. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. If you cannot break that level, we're going up to a higher high. This morning, low of the day, the bell rings. We defend the low of the day, we hold it, and we get another leg up. And so it's going to be the same thing with Bitcoin. If we hold 34, we will see another leg up over 36. If we lose 34, that's the first win for the bears in a while, and we look for the weekly consolidation. So just highlighting the importance of 34,000 in the short term here. Yep. Gold miners, inverse head and shoulders. I have been banging the table on the metals. They are my top watch into the end of the year and into 2024. Proximity to all-time highs. When I took a look at a chart like RFox, I don't compare things to ETH personally much. I mean, I'm looking at Sol and ETH because same ecosystem, and people are saying Sol's an XETH and it's much better and blah blah blah. So that pairing I'm keeping an eye on, but it would be RFox USD and RFox Bitcoin is all I would personally care about. So it looks like it's trying to join in on the fun. Big upper wick. I'm sure there's a volume climax in there. Give me some liquidity. There's the volume. So big spike up. So just keeping the bounce going. 13.6 is the next major resistance zone that stands out. Bulls just want to see healthy consolidation as a result of that. I mean, already it is pretty healthy consolidation to not fully, not retrace half of that move, to find a new support level at 12.012 and try and keep momentum. So that's a good sign. Pepe. I think that the more the narrative focuses on Bitcoin, the less the meme coins. I mean, the meme coins are going to participate, but I think that, the whole ETF and Bitcoin legitimization of, acceptance into the macroeconomic world by traditional financial asset companies, I think that takes away from the meme coins. Again, they will participate, Pepe is doing the same thing as a lot of these coins like Atom and things like that. But I don't think it's going to be, maybe. If you get, the stock market heading back to all-time highs and you get Bitcoin up in the 50,000s, people are going to throw their money at everything. We know that, human nature isn't going to change. But we do have a little daily downtrend on Pepe. So weekly time frame, inside bar. It won't be far from starting weekly consolidation once that weekly candle closes. Bulls really want to hold daily EMA 12. But, yeah, I have no idea. That's just pure speculation. It's a guess from me. And, it's a 100% move. So there's definitely still opportunity. But it doesn't look like, let's go to Atom. This chart doesn't look any different than a lot of these altcoin charts. So I wouldn't say much is standing out. It's just doing what all the other altcoins are doing once Bitcoin confidence seeped out elsewhere. Is RSI out the window? No. RSI is never out the window for me. RSI is useful when it is trading with the prevailing trends, meaning backburners. Backburners. Right now, overbought RSI means nothing to stocks. We're in a short squeeze, and it's a fundamental catalyst of FOMC short squeeze. And we're going to look for 5-minute oversold backburners to mark hourly higher lows and hourly oversold backburners to mark daily higher lows. But we're not going to look for hourly overbought to mark tops. And so, we're going to look for Bitcoin 4-hour oversold conditions to try and mark a longer term higher low whenever we get there. And we're going to look at, it's already been, the altcoins have already been doing it. We just had what? Sushi 15-minute oversold conditions at 4-hour EMA 12 marked the 4-hour higher low. And then we rallied 30%. So there's definitely use for RSI. It's just got to be with the prevailing trend. People use RSI incorrectly and use it counter trend. Is there a reason I don't use Bitcoin USD index? Because I trade on Coinbase. So I want to look at the Coinbase chart. Really just as simple as that. Should we be using IWM as correlation for mining stocks over Bitcoin? It's both. And this is why correlations are so tricky, especially for someone that's not a full-time trader and staring at them all day. These miners will go from caring about IWM a lot more than Bitcoin one day, and the next day it'll flip, and it'll care way more about Bitcoin than what IWM is doing. And it's just like the wind. The direction of the wind changes, and I can make an observation and say, the wind's going eastward today, and it's a strong wind. And then later in the day, I can notice, it's weakening a bit, and now the wind is southeast, and it's shifting. Correlations, the video that I made on correlations, if you Google TheChartGuys correlations, the example I gave is, the currents in the ocean that are just constantly shifting. And so again, if you're not on top of them every day, a lot of people just ignore them because it's a waste of their time. And again, I understand that, but for the full-time trader that's staring at them, there's definitely useful information. So I would say, rather than using it as a tick for tick correlation on like a 5-minute time frame, just use it for the bigger picture daily time frames and for sentiment. It took IWM, it took really the last 2 days for the confidence to become clear in bulls. This bounce before the FOMC was still very weak. And so the crypto stocks, all right, daily bounce, higher low, set, okay. But then they turned it on the last 2 days with the IWM bulls. So I'd be viewing it more zoomed out if you're not a full-time, everyday kind of trader here. LTC BTC has to give us a reason to be interested in Litecoin. And again, there are a lot of BTC pairing charts right now which are trying to balance the scales. This is supply outweighing demand and we're going down. And now the scales are trying to flatten. This was an AI stock trade that I took on the weekly time frame for this exact same thing. Supply is outweighing demand. The scales level out. We've got a balance between supply and demand. And then the scales try and tilt where demand is exceeding supply. So ETH BTC is trying to do that on the daily chart right now. It's tried short-term attempts that have failed where we traded sideways for a few days, but this is the most sideways that ETH BTC has been since we sideways back here. And so, again, it can go continuation. This was bears, sideways, bears, but watch for the sideways to look for the scale reversal. And so we're looking for that on ETH BTC over the next week, and LTC BTC is trying to do something similar. Have to break this daily resistance, get over daily EMA 12 for the first time in an entire month, and show us that something is shifting. Am I trading any crypto right now with the volatility? Mostly stocks. I'll do a little every now and again. I'll nibble some swing trades in crypto. It's like right now I have a little bit of Bitcoin that I will exit if 34 breaks for weekly consolidation, but it is definitely mostly stocks this year. Is there any scenario where I sell parts of my long-term position? I mean, it's long-term, no touch. So no touch means no touch. I would need to see, like if we start seeing Bitcoin move up, 100% in 2 weeks time, things like that. If we get to extreme euphoria, then I'll look to sell partial. But again, I'm planning on having this when I'm 50, 15 years from now. So I don't want to get too fancy with it. In 2017, I traded crypto way more than equities. Recently, I'm trading equities way more than crypto. And I use Coinbase and Fidelity. The fees, man. Somebody's gotta combat these fees. These exchanges are going to lose so much trading volume. If we get ETFs that are liquid, high volume, and have $0 fees, again, a day trader, just imagine throwing around a $100,000 position as a day trader. You're literally saving thousands of dollars a day. So these exchanges are going to have to compete. If an ETF comes and gets liquid on Bitcoin and then some other coins that are even more volatile, or if we get some leveraged Bitcoin ETFs, then these exchanges are going to lose so much business. I have not traded Coinbase futures. All right, I got to wrap it up. I got to make a cannabis video and see if these bulls are going to close this market at the highs. The most common Twitter phrases over the weekend are going to be melt up, short squeeze, and I don't know what. But this is an extremely unusual move for the stock market. This is a capitulation bounce, but we were not in capitulation fear. All right. Appreciate you all. Do good things. Thanks for tuning in. Protect those positions. Are you going to hold through weekly consolidation? Are you going to exit and look to reload lower? Have those game plans laid out in advance, because we know it's shaping up right now what weekly consolidation would look like, and it probably would be a loss of 34. Keep an eye on ETH BTC for potential rotation, and we'll see you soon.